Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Cash. I did want to talk to you. I'm just being silly, but I do want to talk to you guys about something that's pretty serious and uh, like it's been kind of weighing on my heart for the past few weeks. And I originally was planning on doing this live on our Zoom, but Zoom is kind of awkward because you kind of feel like you're talking to yourself. And then I was also afraid I wouldn't be able to make it through without having like an emotional breakdown, and I didn't want to like watch myself on a live Zoom cry. So I'm gonna try to do recording, and that way, if I ugly cry, I can like delete and start over. But hopefully, I can make it through. Um, as you guys know, around this time each year, um, I usually do like a Facebook post about mine and Stan's anniversary, and so it's actually coming up on Thursday, and it's going to be our 23rd wedding anniversary. And I recently, one day this week, I told Stan, hey, we're not going to be able to go out for our anniversary dinner because we're doing device deployment that night. So he was cool with it, and he said, well, we can just go to Texas Roadhouse afterwards and get it to go. So we're going to do device deployment and then go to Texas Roadhouse, get our to-go order, and then come home and watch HGTV or something. I don't know. But anyway, our anniversary is this Thursday, and this will be our 23rd year being married. And being married is the only thing that I've ever done in my life longer than being at Christenberry. So, and I think this is my 18th or 19th year at Christenberry. And so Stan and I actually met in high school, and he was a year ahead of me. I was a junior in high school, and I was about to take the ACT test, and I had not taken calculus or trigonometry yet because that was a class at that time that seniors took. So one of our teachers, Coach Sharp, set it up so that Stan would be my tutor. And so I came in early in the morning, Stan came in early in the morning, and he was my math tutor, and he gave me like a crash course in calculus and trigonometry. Now, when I was in high school, I wasn't as sensible as I am now. So, Stan and I were friends, and he had a crush on me. But like I said, I wasn't very sensible. So I was not interested in him because he was like really smart and he was really nice. And so that type didn't really appeal to me at that time. But over the years, after meeting in high school, we remained friends, and we were very close friends. And Stan was like always there for me. If I had family drama or drama going on at a job or school, or if I had another boyfriend break my heart, he was always my go-to, and he helped me through a lot of things. And so we stayed close, and he continued to have a crush on me. And he was persistent. He was determined. He was steadfast. He was willing to do whatever it took to win me over. And it only took about 5 years of determination on his part, and it took about 5 years for my teenage brain to mature. So that, like I could finally make a sound decision and realize this is the one for me. And so for those of you guys who are new and you don't know me, you may not know that Stan is an African American. So being an interracial couple, dating and getting married has brought its own sets of challenges. But we have always powered through and done whatever it takes to get to where we are today. It meant taking a lot of criticism from other people, including family members. And it also meant, like when we went out, people would stare or comment. It meant that we really were taking an inventory of who has our best interests in mind. And it even meant cutting out some people from our lives. And our love and commitment was so strong that we were determined to do whatever it takes to make our marriage a success. And when I think about our relationship, I found a quote that kind of sums it up perfectly. It is, all of the best love stories have one thing in common. You have to go against the odds to get there. So most recently, there's been a new set of challenges that we've been faced with. And as always, Stan rises to the occasion. I already mentioned that he's an African American, but I didn't mention that he's a police officer. And a lot of you guys know that already, but he's a lieutenant at the Knoxville Police Department. And there's been a lot of strife in our country after the death of George Floyd. He was murdered by police officers in Minnesota, and this has led to an outcry across our nation for not only the loss of George Floyd, but countless others who have been killed at the hands of police officers before him. And Stan has always had to stand in the crossfire because there are those folks who hate police officers, and then there's those folks who hate African Americans. So recently he was on a TV interview, and they asked him, why do you continue to be a police officer under this enormous pressure? And he said, it's a tough job. It's even harder when you're a minority, but you're needed. You're desperately needed to take on this job. He's willing to do whatever it takes to make the police department more inclusive and diverse. He's willing to do whatever it takes to rebuild the trust between police and the community. Just whatever it takes. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with school? But recently, Miss Katrina Lewis had a Facebook post, and it really inspired me. And actually, she inspires me every day, but this was extra inspiring to me. She said that she'd been at school working in Asia's garden, and she said, the zinnias are beautiful. They keep coming back every year, just like me. Zinnias are persistent. They're determined. They're steadfast. Through drought, ice storms, flu, flooding, hailstorms, coronavirus, they come back, just like Katrina, just like you, just like me. So, what do you do when your school is closed unexpectedly on March 12th? The answer is easy. You do whatever it takes. What do you do when kids are home with no food? You deliver it, or you volunteer to hand out grab-and-go meals. What do you do when kids are at home and missing out on important instruction? You do Zoom calls, you make packets, you record videos for the district, you do home visits. You do whatever it takes. What do you do when your kids are home but they don't have school supplies to do the work? You get donations from partners. You buy things with your own money. You deliver those supplies. You take it to their houses. What do you do when you've tried calling or texting or emailing a parent but there's no response? You hop in the car, you bang on the door, and you don't leave until you know they're okay. You do whatever it takes. What do you do when you come to school and the lawn, the flower beds, and Asia Gardens looks like a scene from a zombie apocalypse movie? You get on your hands and knees, and you pull weeds, and you break your back just to make everything look beautiful. What do you do when your fifth graders were robbed of their end of the year celebrations? You make personalized pinwheels. You deliver yard signs at night after working all day on the last day of your contract. You do whatever it takes. What do you do when you're an admin team and the district has asked you to develop a plan to keep 500 students and 100 staff safe? And what do you do when the district asks you to make a plan, but they keep changing things after you've already made a plan, so you redo the plan again only to have them change it when you're done? Well, you cuss a little, you cry a little, you get inspiration from your friends, you put your big girl panties on, and you make another plan. What do you do when you see your colleagues are almost to their breaking point and school hasn't even started yet? You send a funny meme, you send an encouraging word, you send treats, you make meals, you may or may not do a drive-by and deliver alcoholic beverages after school hours, of course. You do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes is not new to us. We've been doing whatever it takes for a long time. We're well versed in whatever it takes. This time last year, we were meeting together to announce that despite our challenges as a community, despite our challenges as a high number of ELL students, despite a high number of students with disabilities, despite a high number of economically disadvantages and all the problems that come with that, despite all of that, We were named a reward school. We're still a reward school because we're willing and always have been willing to do whatever it takes. So when someone asks, what are you going to do to keep pre-K kids and kindergarten kids to keep their mask on? What are you going to do when 1/3 of your kids are learning virtually? What are you going to do to keep 500 kids and 100 adults safe? Or any of the thousands of questions that people are going to ask you. Your answer is simple. We will do what we have always done, whatever it takes.